Good afternoon, folks, and welcome to the 2026 edition of the Sticks and the Six podcast. We're back for our first episode of the new year, episode 219. And as always, I'm your host, Andrew Forbes, here with my co-host, Peter Baracchini. And Peter, I haven't talked in a couple weeks, buddy. How was Christmas? How was New Year's? How you doing, my friend?
Doing great, man. Yeah, like you said, first episode of 2026. We're getting off on a roll. Holidays was nice and quiet. This was the one time of the year, like previous holidays. It's been really hectic, really crazy, very fun. This one was a little bit more subdued, a little bit more quiet. Same with New Year's. Didn't do a whole lot. Caught up with hockey with the juniors. The Leafs are back in full swing. Really off to a really good start. Ever since that Christmas break too. I know we're going to touch up on a lot of stuff here today, but yeah, everything's going well, man. How about you? It's been a hot minute since we last talked. I just got to say, it's got to get into the swing of things again with the podcasting and everything like that.
Yeah, no, it's been a ride, man. It's been a ride. New Year's was quiet. Had a week off around that time, so went down to Oakville, visit the fam, and then just spent some time with the kids as my son was off of school. So it was good to it was good to kind of take a break, get, like you said, watch some World Juniors. Let's get it out of the way now. Canada deservedly lost to Czechia.
Yeah.
Czechia played their asses off. They played so well. They deserved every ounce of that win. And I don't know if you saw Carlo Koliakovo's tweet about, Canadian kids have to get away from like these super teams and like the GTHL and all that stuff and start focusing on development again, because they get so used to winning, they don't know how to face the adversity. And as soon as they start to face adversity, you see what happens in yet another World Junior loss. I mean, bronze medal is not a loss per se, but it's, as Ricky
it's
Bobby
how they lost
said,
in the semifinals.
Yeah,
it's how they lost. And I wholeheartedly agree with you. I mean, the grassroots level right now, the minor hockey level, you're getting all the star players, but you're not setting them up for success properly. Yeah. And that's the problem with what we've witnessed with Hockey Canada or, the Canadian junior teams. We've seen some success. Like we've seen and I'm just going to say this. I don't know where that compete has gone, because this is the same U18 group, or majority of the same U18 group that won Olympia Gretzky's, that won U18s. So I'm trying to figure out where everything is gone, where the disconnect is. But I wholeheartedly agree, man. I do think that like the grassroots is a problem. Not a whole lot of people are signing up. It's too cost effective. I mean, sign up, I know like years ago it was like around 25, 27,000. Who knows what that price tag is right now? So you're hardly getting anybody to sign up. Nobody could afford it. You got to do something.
Yeah, I know 100%. And like I was saying, like it's a bronze is nothing to like sit here and pout about, but how did they do at that Olympia tournament? I mean, they probably walked over the opposition, and it comes down to, again, what Carlos said in that you face a little adversity here at this tournament. Look, the fact is like the tournament is still very exciting. I'm going to say this. I think at a certain point, the IIHF has to look at potentially getting Russia back into these tournaments, because right now we're not a true best on best. We've had this conversation before. 18-year-old kids aren't the issue in that country. Yeah. So without getting completely politicized here, there's got to be a point where you say, you know what, the competition level will be taken to the next level, right? Mm-hmm. It was always Canada, USA, Russia. And now, like, you look at it, and Sweden's right up there. Finland's right up there. I mean, Czechia's right up there. Slovakia's getting there.
The parity is really great, though.
It's incredible to see it, and it's it's humbling for Hockey Canada to realize that they're not going to walk over every opponent now, and it's maybe it builds more character as these kids start to develop. I don't know, but Czechia deserved every ounce of that win.
Absolutely.
And shout out to them. Shout out to the Swedes who took home the gold. Yet again, another incredible tournament. In the last 10 World Junior tournaments, however, this was I believe, third worst for attendance. So
yeah, and I think the The crossing of the border for Canadians, I think, is a little bit of a statement considering what we saw last year or so.
Yeah. Again, not to make this a politicized podcast, but it certainly does play a role.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any question.
Moving away from that quickly, I just want to get your take because, both you and I are like, what some of the main draft aficionados over at the Hockey Writers. We have our rankings, we do our thing. Curious to get your take on the whole Gavin McKenna, Ivar Stenberg battle right now. Because I feel like the conversation is shifting, it has continued to shift quite a bit. And I want to get your take on their two tournaments because I don't know. You want to keep saying Gavin McKenna, you want to keep giving him the benefit of the doubt, but I think I'm already at that point now where I have already switched, but I just want to get your take.
Okay, so I'll say this. One, I have my first draft rankings of the year coming out, hopefully in the next little while here. It's just been an off year for me, rankings-wise. So I will have that coming out shortly at the Hockey Writers. I also am going to have a piece coming out about maybe the top 3 that gained draft stock from the World Juniors. Ooh. And I'll tell you right now, I had this conversation with somebody the other day. To me right now, and call it a hot take, call it whatever you want. To me right now, Gavin McKenna is not a generational player. To me right now, Gavin McKenna is he had one incredible game. He had one incredible game this tournament. The rest of it left me wanting more as a potential number 1 pick.
Yes.
So if you're talking about being a number 1 overall pick in what I would consider maybe one of the deepest drafts in the last decade, I'm not convinced that he's your number 1 guy right now.
Yeah, I agree.
And Ivar Stenberg left a lot to be wanted as well. Mm-hmm. Like let's not mince words here. He was good. He wasn't great. And this tournament gave both of them the potential to really steal the show, and neither one of them really took a hold of it.
Interesting, because I kind of felt like as the tournament progressed, I felt that Ivar Stenberg continued to elevate his stock a little bit more. Ever since that game against the USA where Sweden just took advantage of them wholeheartedly, I felt like that's where he popped off. He was a little bit more noticeable in the medal rounds, especially in that semifinal and the gold medal game where I think he was in on like 5 of the 7 goals that Sweden has scored. Mm-hmm. That to me was the guy coming up clutch. Gavin McKenna, on the other hand, still really didn't come up clutch, especially in that semifinal game. Yeah, he had an assist on one of Cole Reshny's goals, but if you're a number 1 player, you got to take control or want to be seen as a number 1 player.
Especially in those situations. Yeah,
because I kind of feel like when you put up a 14-point season or 14-point tournament, everyone's going to be talking about you. Mm-hmm. Nobody's still talking about Gavin McKenna. Yeah. He had his moments and then he didn't. And it's like when Connor Bedard put up 22 points, again, 2 different kind of players, that was memorable. When John Tavares took control of that World Junior tournament, that was memorable. Connor McDavid, that was memorable. Yeah. Gavin McKenna had points, but it wasn't memorable. At least Ivar Stenberg, I kind of felt like he had memorable moments. It was a gradual progression, but I felt like he stole the show. And I feel like the games in the semifinal and the gold medal vaulted him just a little bit more or slightly ahead of McKenna right now.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I do agree with the assessment. I think the question I'd throw back as a devil's advocate, though, is how much of that was the players surrounding him in Sweden's lineup?
Fair, because they were deep.
That raised his, or elevated his overall production. Mm-hmm. And that's not a knock on Stenberg. I mean, the guy's playing against men over in the SHL, so I'm not going to sit here and criticize this kid who's going to be a star. Like, he's going to be a star, but
just under a point per game at that matter.
I don't know if you remember when we were at the combine for the Hockey Writers last year, and we were talking to a lot of the. I was talking to a lot of the Swedes about Frondell. I'm not sure if you did as well.
No, I wasn't able to make it this time. That time around
right.
first.
Sorry, that's right. So a lot of the conversation that I had with a lot of the Swede players, I was asking, like, is Frondell a guy that you could potentially see as like a potential number one pick. Right? Like, obviously, Schaefer's lighting it up. Like, we can't sit here and second guess.
He's already elite.
Pick. But every single one of them referred to him as not generational, but elite.
Yeah.
They referred to Frondell as elite. And that, to me, was a guy who stood out for me in the tournament that I was watching very closely, because I was like, man, this is a pick that Chicago had. This is a pick that is going to play with Bedard, probably could even be next season, but I would say within the next 2 to 3 years, and is going to be an impact player as soon as he steps on the ice. Like, we're talking about a Jonathan Taves, Patrick Kane, like, duo in Chicago all over again, maybe with a higher elevation of, like, pair production, right? Like, obviously Kane was the guy back then. Taves was kind of like your secondary guy, but I would argue that Frondell and Bedard, I think Frondell will elevate Bedard's overall game.
Absolutely.
Because I've had the conversation where Celebrini is better than Bedard to me. I think I would reconsider my words when I see Frondell and Bedard play together in the next couple of seasons. So
definitely.
But yeah, anyways, it was, like I said, hell of a tournament. It's always good to watch that stuff. Get to know the players, like you said. You and I watch it. We kind of break down, players' game.
And also Sweden 12, like, since 2012 too. Like, we're pushing on 14 years since they last won the World Junior. So you know what? If there was one team and one roster to do it, it was definitely this one.
Yeah, no, 1,000%. Anyways, we want to talk a little Leafs. I think we'd be crazy not to. So let's start with the injury report, because let's get it out of the way.
Rip the Band-Aid off,
rip the Band-Aid off. So Carlo was back. You've kind of seen some players take their steps. Stolarz was skating for the first time since his injury earlier this week. So that's potentially good news.
Nylander's skating as well after missing a couple games.
Still leads the team in points, which is crazy to me. 41 points in 33 games. But Brandon Carlo came back last night, which was a huge boost. Jake McCabe obviously left the game 2 games ago, did not return to the game. So to get Brandon Carlo back was huge. I think they need that in terms of, like, maybe pushing Philip Myers back out of the lineup, because I think he's a good fill-in guy. He's not a guy that you want there long term. Troy Stetcher's been unreal, like, absolutely unreal.
Best pickup of the year.
And we should also mention that the Leafs are on a 7-game point streak. So the East is crazy. When you look at the East standings right now are insane. But Carlo's back. The big one, though, is obviously Chris Tanev. And there's a lot of speculation around Chris Tanev right now, whether he's going to be the idea is that he's gone for the year. The speculation right now, and the assumption is going to be that he's gone for the year. So, on one facet, the Leafs do have money to spend on LTIR. On the other side of things, it's worrisome in that there's comparisons being made to the Jake Muzzin situation, where the back, the neck, the spine.
This is his 3rd injury this year too. That alone is concerning right then and there.
And only year 2 of what was it, a 6-year contract?
Yeah. And many had hoped that we could get like at least 4 good years out of that. We got a year and about a month.
Yeah. And this guy put his body on the line. Remember, he was the one who took the most hits in the playoffs last season. Yeah. Of any player in the playoffs. So, and then obviously leading the league in block shots last year. Like, he's put his body to the test, and Leafs Nation better, respect the hell out of that. But in saying that, it's worrisome to know that there's money locked up here, and the potential of him maybe being himself even next season is up in the air at this point.
I was about to say, tall task considering his player archetype, shutdown defender, guy who can eat pucks, take those hits every single time. And now all of a sudden, and like I mentioned, third injury this year, this one is one that could hold him out for the whole entire season, where he's probably going to need surgery at this point. And with the reports around, like with Dreger right now too, saying that, now instead of a top 6 forward, which is still, a piece that you need to add for this team, it kind of feels like that back end is taking a big hit, although defense as of late hasn't been that bad. So I don't know if you should still. I get wanting to get a top 4 defenseman and still maybe try to like move on from Carlo if you're not going to resign him and get something else this year, where you could get a top right hand defenseman, but should you still prioritize that top line right wing alongside Auston Matthews, where you still don't know what's happening there, despite Matthews popping off right now? I think that, that's still a priority for you. But if anything, you still have some pieces that you can move up into the lineup, like a Troy Stecher. If you feel like Brandon Carlo still isn't working out, you can move him down, pair him up on the second pairing, and then move Stecher up with Riley, because Troy Stecher is, playing well with no matter who his partner is at this point. But I get why you want to try and add more in, because of the fact that Philip Myers hasn't been great. Mm-hmm. Simon Benoit has looked good lately.
As of late, yes. As of late.
But he is still prone to a lot of mistakes, and something that we've noticed even dating back to last season as well. So would bring in somebody up, because I know Marshall Riffai was called up as well after being activated off IR, sent down, called back up. Again, I think you get attest to this too. I think you're also a big Marshall Riffai fan as well. I feel like you got to give him a shot over Benoit and Myers at this point as well, to see what he can do in this lineup, because he's not Chris Tanev in that sense, but he's physical. He's in your face. This is a guy that takes punishment in front of the net as well, but he can dish it out as well. So I'm curious to see how this is going to pan out for the Leafs. I get you want to try and get something in return for Tanev, or to replace him, but let's not also forget about the fact the salary cap when the playoff hits as well, because you got to be compliant with that. And then if you got to take your piece that you traded for Tanev out to play Tanev, that's going to be a little bit of a problem as well. There's going to be a lot of juggling when that time comes around too. So you got to asset manage everything properly in regards to the cap as well.
Well, and that's knowing whether Chris Tanev is going to be available for the playoffs, right? Like I think
that
point,
too, yeah.
At this point, you're sitting on uncertainty with Chris Tanev, and that's probably what's causing the majority of the issue, right? Is that they don't know which direction they're going with that. I agree with you. I think Marshall Riffai, you got to give him an opportunity. Like when are you going to look at your pipeline and say, this is the perfect opportunity to give some of these guys a chance to get in the lineup and play some hockey and play meaningful hockey with the big club, right? Like that's the question that Brad Treliving and his team have to ask themselves now, is what can we do to potentially, one, look at what we have in the pipeline, but two, maybe use those assets in a bigger deal instead of trading a first round pick for like the 19th straight year. Obviously hyperbolizing there, but you get what I'm saying, right? Like it's you got to know what you have to be able to move those assets. So it's unfortunate that Chris Tanev's there, but what the Leafs have done lately, and we mentioned off the top the 7-game point streak for the Leafs, to be able to get to that and be where you are in the standings without arguably your number one guy in terms of shutdown in his own zone defensive play. It's pretty telling of where this team could be if they had, everybody healthy and well, right? And this is kind of what I talked about early in the year, where we talked about, don't panic, don't. We're 20 games in, and everyone's throwing in the flag, and jerseys are already flying on the ice. And when are we gonna just, take a step back and say, shit, maybe Leafs Nation needs to just take a breather. Like,
I was definitely probably one of those guys that should have taken a breather. But
I would like to do a count of heart attacks in fan bases, and I
heart attacks per 60 for the Leafs.
Yeah, I would put money that the Leafs Nation has had more heart attacks than any other fan base in the NHL to this point, except for
over the
Montreal.
years. Over the years
Montreal.
too.
Yeah. So, but I mean, you look at the Leafs right now in terms of the wild card race, and Pittsburgh's holding down the second wild card. 41 games played, 49 points. Leafs have played 42 games, 47 points. So they're 2 games back. They're sitting in a relatively good spot right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, like, why would you? I don't know how much I want to mess with the chemistry up front. I think you need to find a piece where you can come back, put them on the back end, and really solidify that 3 pairings, right? Like, Philip Myers is not the guy, and that's not a criticism on him. It's just he's not the guy to get you to where you want to be.
He just hasn't been good this year.
Yeah, he's a 5-6 on a team that's not going to make the playoffs, right?
Yeah,
and I mean that's kind of where you got to look at it. But anyways, I do want to note in the middle of this podcast here, we're trying something new here today. I'm live on TikTok off to the side here as well. So if you're watching on TikTok, join us on the YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Let's boost that channel. And throw a few likes in there if you're watching live on TikTok as well. We're trying to grow the Sticks and the Six crew here. We're trying to grow it. So anyways, before we get to our next point here, just a quick word from our sponsors over at DraftKings Sportsbook. The jaw-dropping moments that make hockey hockey. Experience them all with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. Missouri listeners, listen up. DraftKings Sportsbook is now live in the Show Me State. New customers, this one's for you. Bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN to turn $5 into $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas. Pass-through of per wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bet, which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer. Copyright NHL 2025. All rights, all are reserved. Jumping into our next point here, Steve Sullivan's back in the Six. Obviously, he was coaching with the Marlies. Once Savard was let go, he was brought in to run the power play, and things have changed for our Maple Leafs. Mm-hmm. What have you taken away with the addition of Steve Sullivan?
See, and here's the thing, too. I wrote about this because it kind of felt like, yes, obviously, Mark Savard was the problem. He had ample time and multiple opportunities to try and change everything and right the ship with this power play, but nothing amounted to anything. Like, even the fixes that he made, it was very minuscule. Didn't really move the needle in terms of making this more dangerous or lethal. Then all of a sudden, the first game that Steve Sullivan comes in, the Maple Leafs power play clicks for like 2 goals, I believe, in that game against Ottawa, 10 seconds in. And it's like, well, what the hell happened? Obviously, you needed a change in voice, but was Steve Sullivan really the guy behind it because he was still getting used to or still learning the system? Berube and Treliving said that everyone's going to be, giving their input right now to get him up to speed. And I know that I read this somewhere. I think it was off the Hockey News, where Sullivan, I think, was more of a skills and development kind of coach. So that's one thing where maybe he didn't have that advantage with the Marlies, but now he's up here with the team. And the one thing, the power play just looks stronger. I mean, they look quicker. They look faster. They're literally trying to do everything that they can right now in order to be more dangerous on the man advantage. And yeah, the change of voice helped, but I think that the players realized that they needed to be better. And I think it all started with them. And you could notice that they're more confident with their movement. They're not as stagnant. They're crashing the middle a little bit more. And they're just a little bit more attacking with purpose as opposed to being passive. So that to me is a big difference. Again, you would like to attribute it to Steve Sullivan, but because he hasn't quite been caught up to speed with the power play, who knows? But you needed to change a voice on the team, and he's just the guy to do it right now if he continues to, push his team going forward.
Yeah, I feel like Steve Sullivan's onto something. Like, you saw the smirk after the first power play goal, right? Like, we saw it on the bench. It flashed to him, and he just had this like little perked up smirk, like, I know exactly what I'm doing. It's good to be back. And he was always a specialist when he played in his glory days as well in the NHL. So it was honestly, I was happy to see his face on the bench, because I always go back to that clip of him and the fan in Chicago where
he gets high sticked, puck comes back.
Yeah, it was one of my favorite clips. I still go back to it all the time. Like, the guy's an absolute beauty, and to have him now on the bench and be the assistant, right? Like, the role of the assistant is rally the guys and kind of be there to joke and shoot the shit a little bit and just what have you. It's to see that and see the potential that he can bring to that lineup. I'm excited to see what will change. And I'm glad they didn't fire Berube. We talked about that. We talked about how it wasn't time yet.
It was the easy way and the wrong way out.
Exactly. And often you see that in hockey and in all of sports, really. There's a scapegoat, right? And the coach is the scapegoat. This time around, that wasn't the case. They were able to kind of make adjustments and, at the expense of Mark Savard, who we saw the excitement he had in the playoffs last year. So, he was obviously a great guy for the room as well. But it was nice to have a guy like Steve Sullivan come in and make the difference without making extreme changes, right? We know this lineup. We talked about it last pod, maybe the pod before. Mitch Marner is not a top 5 player in the NHL. Losing him wasn't the difference between this team being a playoff team and not.
Yeah. I don't care what Brad Marchand is saying.
Can we agree that Brad Marchand is just making a career out of trolling Leaf fans?
Like, he's doing everything he can just to gout us and get us riled up.
He came to Toronto to say, yeah, it was either Florida or Toronto. Like, baloney. Yeah. Baloney. If there was another team involved that was like, hey, we'll give you this, we're no tax state, we'll give you this for 5 years the way Florida did, you're telling me he wouldn't have considered it?
No.
He's making a career out of trolling Leaf fans, and everyone who gets frustrated and buys into this, like, you're wasting your time. You're going to join the heart attack list of Leafs Nation if you continue to worry about it. But him saying that Leafs fans ran Marner out of town. I'm still waiting for receipts. I'll say that now. I'll say it in 20 years. I'm still waiting for the receipts where somebody doxed Marner and released his information online, because I haven't seen it, and the internet's a deep, deep place. It's a deep hole. It's never deleted. So if it happened, release it. Get the fans for the team that you loved and said you loved. Get them back on your side. Resolve your legacy here in Toronto. And until then, I was ready to come on here and be like, you know what? Screw the Canadian team in the Olympics because of Marchand and Marner alone. But I'm not going to say that because I do want Canada to win. Also, since we're on that subject, can I just say, like, this is the first year that potentially Mark Stone doesn't go on LTIR, and it's because he made the Olympic team?
Yeah. I find that very suspicious right now.
Right? Like,
I find that very suspicious right now. Unless somehow he gets, injured and then Connor Bedard gets called up. I don't know. But yeah.
All of a sudden your back's good enough to make it through a full season plus an Olympic break. Like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
I know we usually have our list of topics to go through, but this just showed up right now on Sportsnet. Nick Kyprios obviously going through teams what they need to do right now. Obviously, Ethan Cowan was floated around last year for Braden Shen. I mean,
insane to me.
It's insane, but I don't know how much substance. I don't know how much substance there is to this, because one idea he writes this about like Cowan and the St. Louis Blues. One idea floating around the league is a bigger swing involving Dallas, specifically Jason Robertson.
Okay.
Contract talks there haven't been smooth, and Robertson is believed to be looking for north of $12 million a year, more than what Mikko Rantanen got. That's not an easy number for the Stars. Toronto could pay it, but the question is the cost of acquisition. Cowan, Danford plus more for Jason Robertson if you could sign him $12 million.
No.
Would you?
No.
Interesting.
No.
Yeah.
No, because what have we talked about for the last 6 seasons?
That's true.
We've talked about not dishing out money for guys that aren't worth the money, or creating a culture within the dressing room, where guys are taking cuts to make it a quality team up and down the lineup.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you let, like, forget the idea that Marner didn't even open the door to negotiations, but why would you let Marner walk just to bring in Jason Robertson for $12 million a year?
Yeah.
And you can't tell me, so he's in a no tax state right now. You can't tell me that number doesn't go up if he goes to Toronto.
That is fair. It's just that
Toronto,
fact.
If you play in Toronto, you're seeing about 54% of your salary.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that he'd take 12? There's no way. Easton Cowan
is looking really good right now.
He has something going right now with Nick Waugh and
Robbo, Nicky Bobby.
And Nick Robertson. Why would you were so high on this guy that you took him in the first round that it was a surprise to everybody that you took Easton Cowan in the first round? Why would you go and move him for a guy that wants $12 million when you just had Tavares take a pay cut to stay?
Yeah.
Riley took a hometown discount, let's call it, to stay a Leaf for basically the remainder of his career. Matthews, I mean, albeit, what was this, 13.25 or something like that? Anyways, regardless of what Matthews is, in 3 years when the cap is like $100 million plus, like that's gonna be an incredible deal. Even like, why would you go out and sign Jason Robertson for $12 million?
Yeah,
that to me doesn't make any sense.
I understand where you're coming from. It doesn't make sense what you're trying to prove right now. You're trying to grow your talent,
but trade more of your pipeline. You have no pipeline. You have zero pipeline.
But Jason Robertson, man, it's just so enticing at this point because you need a finisher in your lineup. Again, offense hasn't been the issue this year. Defense has picked it up. It's been more so that. But when you have a chance to get a lethal 5-on-5 and power play producer and score along Auston Matthews' wing, that's your ideal top 6 player right there. Again, I don't know how much substance there is to that, but man, that would be a huge get. And not only that, you would have both Robertson brothers on the team. If not on the top line, imagine Jason playing with his younger brother as well.
Yeah. I mean, look, if he's not going to sign anyways in Dallas, why would you just not wait till
he becomes a free agent? You're
not going to sign him to the max deal. The new CBA is 6 years anyways. 6 or 7. What is it? 6 years? 5, 6 years?
It's good. I think it's going down. It goes down to 7 if you can't.
Okay, so you're not going to sign him for 7 years. So why wouldn't you just wait till free agent? Like, I say this at the risk of maybe never getting Nick Kypreos on this podcast.
Yeah.
Do you not feel that sometimes he just floats shit out there to see if it floats?
Sometimes, yeah. That's why it feels a little bit too good to be true. Because not only that, too, would Danford and Cowan be enough when another team can swoop in and their pipeline is deeper to get Robertson in? And even so, Robertson's only an RFA.
Yeah.
So he's not fully a UFA at this point. So you would get a little bit more leverage if you can negotiate that with him, if he is signing with you. But that's a big if.
Yeah, I mean, to me, like, it strikes me as like, a giant log in the middle of Lake Ontario. And that's like Nick Kypreos special. I don't know. Like,
that's why I don't know how much substance there is to that. It's just Jason Robertson. I don't want to get too much behind it. It was just something that I just saw right now.
You don't have a pipeline. And that, like, I'll go back to that 100 times. You don't have a pipeline. You're seeing Matthew Knies on the verge of another career year.
Yeah.
Nick Robertson Did I not say last year if Nick Robertson got the ice time and the opportunity, he'd be a 25 goal scorer?
Yeah.
And
but I just feel like there's a lot more drive to his game now, more so than before. And I feel
100%.
like right now you gotta extend him because he's playing like he wants to stay on this team.
100%. But why is he playing like that?
Because he's getting that opportunity. He's getting the minutes.
Finally getting the opportunity.
Yeah. And it's not just like bottom six, it's like mid six. And that third line, it's something that Berube can rely on a little bit more. So that ice time is going to increase from here on out, possibly.
Yeah, like Robertson's averaging a point every 2 games right now. He's at 9 goals. He's 6th on the team in goal scoring. Like a lethal shot when he gets it off. Like, I don't know. I can't buy into that until I see more substance from like somebody else out there.
No, I hear you.
Anyways, before we talk about our guy, the captain, Auston Matthews, I got to. She likes being on camera. She likes seeing everybody wave.
She's a little star right now.
She's a little star. She's gonna be a performer one of these days. Anyways, before we get to our guy Auston Matthews, obviously our last talking point, but I want to talk about Matthew Knies, who just hit 200 career goals, 200 career games, and is one of 4 players since hitting has been recorded to have 50 goals, 75 assists, and 400 plus hits in his first 200 games. And that he joins a list of Jamie Benn, Alex Ovechkin, and Gabriel Landeskog. Your thoughts on Matthew Knies this season? He's at 38 points, second on the team in scoring, tied with John Tavares, and only 3 back of Willie, who has 41. And his career year was last year at 58 points. This guy was almost a 30-goal scorer last year. Easily one of the best power forwards in the league, next to Tom Wilson and Brady Tkachuk. Your thoughts on Matthew Knies?
Absolute tank. I mean, absolute unit. I mean, last year he was so close to hitting my prediction of 30 goals and 60 points. Like, he was so close to hitting that 30-30. He was just too off. 1 goal and 1 assist each. But right now, he may not surpass 30 goals, but he is on pace for 77 points. I mean, that assist total has shot right up. The fact that he has seen that massive progression every single season ever since he joined the Maple Leafs shows that he's in the right spot. He is one of the, or among the top power forwards in this game. I mean, when you could go from like 35 in your rookie year to a decent jump of 23 points after that, and you're on pace for 77, you're doing good things. And this is at a point too where he had kind of an inconsistent stretch too, much like a lot of players on this team. But right now he has found his game. He has found his element. And when he's hitting and when he's driving the net and he's becoming an absolute force in a high danger area, he's among the best. And, right now that he's joined that club already, this early on too, like this is only I believe his 4th full season right now. 3rd, actually, not even 4th. He is definitely a special talent. This is one of those players that the team has been lacking and missing for some time. So this guy is going to be extremely crucial and important, not just down this stretch, but for years to come, because he's going to be an absolute force to play against.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think like this is kind of why I'm saying with the Kyprios thing, like we got to take it lightly because you have a guy right now who's, I would say, a top 5 power forward in the league. He's gonna have back-to-back career years. He throws like he's willing to fight. We saw the fight with Heischer. Laid him out very quickly. Made quick work of him.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just think it's important to maintain that youthfulness in your lineup, unless you want your window to close. So for a guy like Matthew Knies to have those numbers in his first 200 games, I mean, it just goes to show you how important he is to this lineup. And I truly believe that with the puck handling and the possession that Easton Cowan has, he's going to be in the same boat at some point. Maybe not, obviously not the hitting numbers and all that kind of stuff, but like we're going to be talking about a guy who could potentially be a 30, 35 goal scorer at some point in his career. So I think the youthfulness of this Leafs lineup is what the conversation needs to look. They need to look at that and say we need to maintain and build off of it, not give it away to try and open our window further now. Like, you're right there. You were right there last year. You get past Florida.
Who knows what could happen?
We're talking about an Edmonton-Toronto final.
And if Toronto goes up against Edmonton, I think Toronto wins the cup. If they knocked off Florida, I'm not just saying that as a Leaf fan, but you saw how bad Florida was defensively and how bad their goaltending and how much worse it was in Toronto's. I think advantage Toronto. There's no doubt about that.
Edmonton got worse this year, and then they trade for Tristan Jarry,
which was basically a swap right then and there.
Look at Stuart Skinner's numbers since he went to Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
not playing poorly. Tristan Jarry got hurt game 3.
Both got hurt, actually.
Oh, they did. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
And also, I just want to shout out to Easton Cowan yesterday. Holy hell, what an effort on his goal where he has the puck in his own zone. Basically breaks ankles by maneuvering and getting away from a hit, starts the play up, joins up, goes straight to the net, and finishes off that pretty passing play between Watt and Robertson.
From his own zone all the way to the side of the opposing net.
Yeah.
And then
that is Easton Cowan at his finest right there.
That effort, and then how about the effort from Matthew Nyes on the Auston Matthews?
Oof. Filthy.
Right? Like nobody could get the puck off him.
Yeah. He just bullied his way through. And even early on in that series against Florida, he was bullying his way through. They didn't have an answer.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%. Okay. So we're up to about 40 minutes here. Like I said, we're live on TikTok as well. So if you're on the go, you can't watch YouTube, throw us up on TikTok. You'll get the one-sided conversation here. You get my side of the conversation. Not always pleasant, not always pure, but I do my best. I
may have to get the TikTok now.
Yeah, especially when the kids are. It's crazy, man. I go live sometimes at 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. and just talk hockey, and
get your thoughts out there.
Honestly, there's been some good conversations on there. I've had some people, some Habs fans join in, some Vancouver fans join in, and we just talk hockey, and we've talked the Olympic roster when it was named. We talked, a lot of back and forth too. Like some people, I believe Scheifele should be there. Some people didn't, and I love the diverse opinions. I think it's great to have. So the lives have been a lot of fun for me, because I could talk for hours if I had the time, right? Anyways, our last thing here, and it kind of ties in with we started our donations last year with the Goudreau Brothers Foundation. Obviously, this year we're doing the Princess Margaret Hospital for Cancer Research. We're up to $34.50 with preseason and regular season goals.
Yes.
Auston Matthews is up to 21 goals this season, leading the Leafs in goals. Also, right there in points with 34 in 36 games. We talked last episode about the lack of not effort, but the lack of urgency, the impact, the skating was off, the consistency was off, and now all of a sudden we've got a guy who is on absolute fire. 6 goals in his last 3 games, playing on another level, climbing right back into the conversation when we talk about Rocket Richard. He's now at 21 goals, like I mentioned. He's on pace now for 45 goals this season, and I don't think 50 is out of the question if he continues to play the way he is.
Yeah.
What is the difference that you've seen in Auston Matthews' game over the last 3 to 5 games?
I don't know what he did over that little Christmas break, but whatever he did, continue doing it because he's found his game and he's found a whole nother level right now. I feel like there's a more sense of urgency and he's now carrying the team on his back when they need him to. And you just look at the numbers right now, ever since December 7th, he is now December 27th. Sorry. He is now 4th in points or tied for 3rd in points with Aho and Svechnikov. one behind or two behind Nathan McKinnon and three behind Nikita Kucherov. And he is tied with Kucherov in goals right now. And before, if you were to tell me that he would be back up in the goal scoring conversation right now, probably maybe a 60-40 chance where he could gain that momentum again and he could put himself into the conversation. He has done just that right now. He is 7 behind Connor McDavid right now, who has 28 goals. And everybody else in front of him, it's just a minuscule amount. If he gets, I don't know, let's say 1 or 2 more against the Philadelphia Flyers and then a couple more against Vancouver, he can easily vault up a number of spots and be in the top 5 in goal scoring again. And you know that meme or, the car mirror where it's like objects appear closer than they appear? That's Auston Matthews right now as he has turned everything on. But again, I feel like he's getting to the areas more where he can unleash a shot. Before, it was more of a grind and he's fighting himself and he's fighting opponents just to get there. He's finding that spot with ease, and it's all as a result of his skating as well. He's quicker. That game against the New York Islanders where he just goes around Scott Mayfield, I have never seen him beat defenders one-on-one like that this season, or even last season for that matter, later on. He had difficulty doing that, but he's found his footing. That speed element is up. The shot selection and shot, not distribution, but, the amount of shots that he's taking from here on out. And even so, Mike Kelly too posted, numbers of, the slot shots, the speed, the chances, everything is up in this short span. And it's 2 weeks, but I said that if Auston Matthews, he needed a better 2026. He's already off to that right now. And if he can continue that going forward, man, he's just going to separate himself from Matt Sundin and continue moving up the Maple Leaf record. And big shout out to him as well, breaking the record that Sundin held for like God knows how many years, like close to 20 at this point, I believe. So it was only fitting that at one point it was going to be him. And even Matt said, I would like to have held it, a little bit longer, but the way that Matthews did in such a short amount of time, we questioned if he would be able to match Ovechkin's goal scoring streak or record. With the injuries, we don't know right now, but he's still having a great goals per game rate throughout his career right now. And it's hard to overlook that, but yeah, huge turnaround for Matthews right now. And the fact that he's leading by example on the ice, carrying the team on his back, I think that's big for him.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to find the list and reference it again, but he's still top 6 all time in goals per 60 minutes. That includes Mario Lemieux, I think, was number 2. Obviously, his career was cut short. Mike Bossy, number 1. His career was cut short. Ovechkin was number 8, I believe, on the list.
Yeah.
Obviously, ironic considering his the jersey number he wears. But
just one more thing too: 24% shooting percentage right now.
Yeah,
huge increase from the 12 that he had before all this happened.
But we're seeing that release that we are so accustomed to seeing that he didn't have early on this season. He didn't have last season,
and he was still fighting with his shot as well.
So that's that. I go back to the hat trick a couple games back, and the release he had on, I believe, the second goal.
Was vintage power play release.
Vintage power play release, low to the ice, quick, just that deceptive kind of short release, and that's the difference to me that we're seeing. We're seeing him skate. We're seeing him get into the grimy areas. And yeah, of course, like he surpassed Matt Sundin, which I think is incredible. He's the only active player on an original 6 team to lead the franchise's all-time list. And if you saw it, I think Max Domi was the first one I saw, but I saw Max Domi, Patrick Marleau, Giordano, all sending out their Bud Zeros that they got in the mail from Budweiser and Matt Sundin for the number of assists and the cans that they had. The number
Johnny T and even Jake Gardner too displaying the cans.
Yeah. So pretty crazy when you think about it. All the players that have had assists on his goals. The other thing
forgot about Jake Gardner too. He assisted on that 4th goal that he had. So he had the number 4 can right there.
Nice.
I can't believe I forgot about that.
That's crazy. It's it's great to see, right? And that's the vintage Matthews that everyone's talking. How many people were talking about, is his career over? Is he on the downslide of his career? Like,
wasn't over.
Are you kidding
It's
me?
concerning, but it wasn't over.
This guy's 10 years into his career. He's got another 10 years to play. He's one of the best goal scorers that we've ever seen. And you're going to sit there and you're going to tell me that he's on the downslide. Anyways, it's like I said, it's great to see. It really brings back hope, I'm sure, to a lot in Leafs Nation, including those who were on the borderline of heart attack hotel in Leafs Nation here. So it's definitely good to see, and I'm looking forward to this. The revitalized Leafs lineup here in 2026. We're starting to get healthy. We're starting to see players come back. Stolarz is, still up in the air, but in the works.
They're finding their game, and they're playing the Berube game that they knew how to do and execute last year.
Exactly. So, yeah, really excited. And, like I said, we're up to almost $35 for Princess Margaret Hospital. And
thank you, Matthews.
Thank you, Matthews, for starting to light that lamp. Anyways, that's all we got for this week. It's good to be back. Looking forward to 2026 here with you, Peter, and
absolutely, man,
and closing out season 6, hopefully with some playoff hockey. But it's a long ride until then. We got the Olympics coming up.
Yes.
We got TikTok lives at 1:00 in the morning. So make sure you tune in there. Make sure you follow us on the old TikTok. I'm old here, so TikTok live I'm still getting used to. Right? I'm old. This is a new generation of social media that I was never used to.
Yep, it's basically new for me too. I'm still trying to understand the concept of it or what the hell's going on there. So
yeah, it's for those of us that have short attention spans like myself. So it's good. It's good in that sense. But anyways, before we close it out here, buddy, what do you got coming up in the next couple weeks here with hockey writers or just Peter's life? Oh, hold on. I wanted to tell you this before we close it out. Now that I'm a podcast expert, we're gonna call us a podcast expert.
Yes, let's do it. Podcast expert Andrew.
So I'm a big true crime guy. Okay,
yeah,
I'm a big true crime guy. There's a cold case here in London from 1956. A 4-year-old girl went missing. Ended up she was unfortunately located and had passed away from the extremities of the cold and everything. But she was abducted by a man in a schoolyard. Anyways, my wife was at work the other day. This woman comes in who her sister used to work at the same store that my wife works at. And my wife is just asking, how is she? Well, she starts offering up all this information. Yeah, my dad, was not a good person, blah, blah, blah. This is what he did when he was home, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, he came home from the military a day before this girl went missing. This woman is, I'm telling you, positive that her dad is the guy who abducted this girl and killed her.
Wow.
So, True Crime Podcast, the ideas are flowing here, okay? I want to do something on this, like a 4-episode serial on the facts and getting some people on and talking about, because there's civilians here in London right now trying to look into this 66-year-old cold case.
You're doing your own investigative style journalism right there.
So, anyways, that was my story. I held up to the very end of this podcast. But how crazy would it be to start diving into that and potentially because at the time, remember, 1956, there's no DNA.
Yeah,
right.
Nothing.
Or what there was very little. Now you've got Ancestry, you got
everything at your disposal right now. Yeah, you could get the amount of guests and people and experts you could get on right now.
Yeah,
to help with that too.
It's insane.
Yeah, it's absolutely phenomenal.
Anyways, that's what's coming up for me in the next little while. Hopefully, I'm going to dive in a little bit here, do some research and see if there's potential there. But
dive into that, man.
Back to you, buddy. What do you got going on in the next little bit?
I know we talked about the draft and everything off the top of the show with the juniors. So my January rankings are just around the corner, coming out possibly later this week, early next. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that's the one thing that's in the works right now. Over 4,700 words. There man, these I go in depth and I don't hold back on it, man.
There you go. I love it. It's good content, good draft content, free draft content over the Hockey Writers. And always a pleasure doing that kind of stuff with you, and
absolutely
gets us in the know with some of these young cats before they make the big contract. So, anyways, that's all we got. First episode back, 2026 Sticks in the Six podcast. As always, it's a pleasure doing this with you. I'm glad you had a good New Year. I'm glad you had a good trip to see the fam. And we got a lot more going for us here. In the next little while. Excited to run this season, run it through 2026 with you here, Peter.
Absolutely. And, can't wait, man. It's going to be a great ride.
It's going to be a fun ride. Until next time, next week, hopefully, Wednesday, make sure you tune in live on the YouTube channel or on TikTok. We'll see you next week. Go Leafs, go.